out here on VSIN, the Sports Betting Network.
Cashing Out continues with me, Joe Ceraulo, taking you through the late night here from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning on the program right here on VSIN, and now taking you back over to the Progressive guest line as we get ready to talk some MLB futures this hour, and who better to bring in to do so than our friend, host of the Tony Cutillo Show. You can also catch him on Odd Chopper and Sirius XM Fantasy Radio. Our guy, Tony Cutillo. Tony, how are you, my man? Great to have you on.
Nah, I'm doing great, man. Like, we just got an extension for Saquon Barkley. Got to rub that in a little bit.
Cut the mic
man.
In the back. Can we cut the mic, please? You know, I saw that. I woke up to that Barkley news Tuesday morning, Tony. And I don't know if it was ESPN or which outlet I saw on Instagram had posted about the extension, and I commented, but I thought Chicago was just trying to drive up the price. I mean, unbelievable, man. Sitting here in my shoes as a Giants fan, knowing you had the best running back in the world, and you never bothered to put a damn offensive line in front of him. It is, you know, like, I'm happy for the guy. I love him, but it is heartbreaking seeing him do it with, of all teams, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I get it, man. It would be the same way I feel if it was the Dallas Cowboys, right? But no, that what you just said before that, though, just as a football fan, to think that you had this guy on your team and you were unwilling to build around him in front of him, it's just like it's insane to me. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I still have nightmares of that Joe Shane clip saying the Eagles are out, Chicago's just driving up the price.
Yep, I remember that. That's why nobody wants to do Hard Knocks no more. Everybody's like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, how about it? Belichick and former VSiN host Michael Lombardi, they're doing Hard Knocks. How do you think, I'm curious, before we get into your MLB future, how do you think that's going to go, having a college team on Hard Knocks?
You know, I am so intrigued by that whole Bill Belichick, North Carolina kind of concept out there. Like, it's almost like I did a whole segment a while ago about seeing how, no more of those shiny young toys out of college. We're going to go back to the veteran coaches and veteran GMs, and seeing them try to revitalize with the NIL, a pay structure with North Carolina, and now be on Hard Knocks. So I am so intrigued. Probably this will be the most intrigued I am to watch it, to be honest with you.
So, Tony, Hard Knocks is what I know it's HBO, so they're not on, a regular TV schedule where they have to stick to a firm hour episode with commercials and whatever. What, about an hour each episode, right? Safe to say? Say it's an hour an episode, right? Over under on screen time for Belichick's girlfriend, 2.5 minutes. What are we thinking?
Oh man, we're going over by a long shot. Especially because you're going to have zero personality from Belichick. Like, he's going to give you nothing. One word answers. So they're just going to have to cut to the girlfriend, man. They're just going to have to go to her.
I can't wait to see the recruiting techniques showing up at an 18-year-old high school kid's house with his 24-year-old girlfriend. I mean, hey, come play to North Carolina. You could have this on your arm. Unbelievable. It's going to be.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think
That's all I think about when I think of North Carolina football, Tony. I think of her at the Chi Omega parties down the street.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I love it.
Let's get into these MLB futures. We talked a lot of National League East last week. My Mets, your Phillies, a little Atlanta Braves as well. Not that we enjoy talking about that team down in A-Town. How about the NL Central? Give me a team whose win total really stands out to you.
Yeah, look, man, I'll be honest with you. I really like the Cincinnati Reds. I think the Cincinnati Reds could possibly be the sleeper team of the National League, man. Ooh. Like, you look, they're over and under 78.5, right? You have De La Cruz just keeps getting better. Matt McCain's now healthy. They move him to second base, takes over for Jonathan India. And then you possibly could have a very, very solid, underrated top three of the rotation with the Dolo coming back healthy. You got another year of Hunter Green, and then they bring in a very underrated Brady Singer. So the silent assassin in this, Joe, man, is Tito, man. Terry Francona knows how to manage. He's a veteran manager, been around, and I think it's exactly what they needed. So I'm going to go over on the Cincinnati Reds at 78.5 wins.
Tony, what an upgrade. Going from David Bell, who I don't know how he lasted as many years as he did in Cincinnati, to Tito, to Terry Francona. I mean, just that alone, how many wins do you think that leadership accounts for right there?
Well, that's what I was saying, and listen, I have a lot of respect for Tito. Before he became Tito, he was the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies before, they were really good. But he just has the respect of his players. And I think it gives you at least an uptick of 5 to 7 wins easily just by the youngness of that team and what he's going to bring in, man. I think that was one of the most underrated moves of the entire offseason in Major League Baseball.
So, Tony, we just flashed the odds up on the screen. Cincinnati to make the playoffs 3-1, to win the division plus 650, with that win total sitting there at 78.5 that you like the over on. I got to say, with the NL East having what could be 3 playoff teams and the NL West having what could be 3 playoff teams, it seems unlikely we're going to get a wild card out of the Central. If Cincinnati does break out, would you rather bet them to win the division at plus 650 than a wild card, or just to make the playoffs at 3-1?
I think I would bet them to win the division. I really do. Looking at the way this is going out, looking at everybody, within the National League Central, nobody really sticks out to me. Listen, Milwaukee's lost some players, man. They kind of had a very quiet offseason, so I'm not really sold on Milwaukee. Chicago is always still going to be Chicago. No matter what they do, they're still going to be Chicago. And then you look at the Cardinals and the Pirates, who, listen, the Pirates just don't spend any money. The Cardinals are just kind of stagnant. So Cincinnati, man, listen, if they can get up to those 85 to 88 wins, I know it's plus 10 based on the number, but we just talked about Tito. I think it could happen, man. I really do.
Wow, yeah, that would be some swing for the Reds. I'll tell you, as we look at all those win totals in the Central, just my first gut check inclination is over Cubs 85.5. Brewers, I'm passing. 83.5 feels pretty accurate. Reds over 78.5. Pirates over 77.5. Cardinals under. That's just without a deep dive. I mean, I've done my deep dive into the Cubs and Pirates already for this offseason. But what do you think about Pittsburgh? 77.5 their win total. I love the starting pitching. The lineup up top, it looks decent. It's not deep. The bullpen is not deep. So I have concerns there. But they won 76 last year. I feel like they're 2 games better than they were last year.
Yeah, I think, just listen, I mean, we all know about Paul Skeens, right? And, sometimes, a young flamethrower like that, just being at top of your rotation. We watched Halladay do it for years in the AL East with Toronto, just giving them, even though they might not have made the playoffs, but he gave them an extra 2 to 4 wins every single year, as he got stronger. So just that alone to me says, guess what? Bullpen may suck, but Skeens can go a little farther in the games this year. And I think that gives them those 2 to 4 wins. And Milwaukee, I'll be with you. I'm actually under with Milwaukee. Listen, they were 10 games better than any other team in the NL Central last year. However, the question is, Joe, can a healthy Yelich fill the void of losing Willy Adames to the San Francisco Giants? I just don't. Milwaukee didn't do enough for me to say they're going to go over 83.5.
Yeah, they lose Adames. They lose Devin Williams. Look, again, good coaching. They do the small things right. They steal a lot of bases. They move guys over. So they got the fundamental baseball stuff is there. I mean, I could see him winning 84, 85. I could see him winning 81. That one's a pass for me. I think this division's probably going to have 4 teams between 78 and 88 wins. And then I think the Cardinals go under 77.5. I have the Cardinals pinned for last place. Tony, let's get to the NL West. What's your favorite team to bet out there?
I love the D-backs, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go D-backs over this number 86.5. Listen, 89 wins last year with no Corbin Burns. Like, pitching wins championships. So we just talked about what Skeens can do in a second year, giving them 2 to 4 more wins for the Pirates. What is Corbin Burns going to do for the Arizona Diamondbacks? I mean, they had the best run differential of any wild card team last year. Okay, plus 98, but they didn't make it because they play in the NL West. So it's like, you look at this team though, and you just start talking about fundamentals. I really like the addition of Burns and what he's going to give them as an extra a potential to be better with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Man, I'm with you. I love this team. Last year I had 2 tickets on them. I had over their win total, which seemed criminally low. It was like 83.5. And then I had them to make the playoffs, and it ended up going 1-1. and it felt like I got robbed that they didn't make the playoffs. Now, obviously, my Mets pushed them out. I'm very thankful. I enjoyed the ride. But this team should have been a playoff team last year. They certainly didn't regress. They had a better regular season than when they won the pennant 2 years ago. I'm with you. Give me over wins. Give me yes to the making the playoffs. I mean, this team, I wouldn't take them to win the division, but I could see them bouncing the Dodgers based on their pitching in a short series. Couldn't you?
Yeah, I completely agree. Anything could happen. Listen, I'm in Philadelphia, right? So I've watched it happen. Look, your Mets did it to us last year, right? So you just never know. You get the best team in the world, but hit the right team at the right time, and boom, you're out.
It's a marathon to get there, but those short series, those are coached differently. Burns, Gallen, Merrill Kelly. Oh my, Arizona's going to be a fun team this year. NBA best bets with Tony. Up next, it's Cashing Out with Joe Ceraulo.